Hello, hello, everyone. First time doing a live in a very long time. It's been a while, but in this live, trying to see what's going on here. See if we're actually live. Hey, Stevie. Steve. We're adults now. Hi, Tita. Hi, everyone. So it's been a while since I've gone live. In this live, I want to share some insights from a quantum healing hypnosis session that I facilitated on Sunday. I'm super inspired to share some insights from the session, and I know that that inspiration will leave at some point, so I kind of want to grasp it as it's there. It's kind of drizzling away, but if you guys don't finish watching this, I will upload it to my YouTube channel so you guys can check it out there. Otherwise, I will keep it short and sweet and to the point, and you guys can catch it later on my YouTube channel. So, those that know, I'm a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner. I facilitate past life regression sessions, and during sessions, people communicate with their higher self. What is their higher self? It's this part of ourselves that is all-knowing. Higher self is kind of connected to the collective consciousness of the world. So pretty much what is connected to our life's path, what helps us make the right decision to learn the best lesson in our lives. So that is higher self. That is the subconscious self. And so I'm going to share with you guys some insights that were shared with me during the session that I facilitated as a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner. So the session was actually pretty long. It was almost 6 hours long. Usually sessions are about 4 to 5 hours, but this one was a little extra long. She was visiting from a different country, so we maximized all the questions she had. So I'm not going to get too personal on some of her personal questions, but I do want to share some of the questions that are kind of like generally speaking. So one of her questions was, how do I transcend the ego? It was about the ego. And she's kind of transitioning from corporate world, wanting to work in the spirituality healing space. And one of her questions was, how do I transcend the ego? And when I asked this question, it was so fascinating to me because higher self, mind you, she's channeling what higher self is either communicating with her. So higher self answered with this answer, and that was, I have notes, so, and that was, there is no transcending the ego. There is no way to transcend the ego. So it said that what we have to do as humans is love the ego, find a way to communicate with the ego. And I related this to looking at the ego kind of as a little child. So kids ask for things, right? And some of those things aren't always good for them. Some of those things are actually harmful for them, or they might not be old enough to understand what certain things are. So we as adults or as parents say no. So that's kind of like how I view the ego, and that's more of the interpretation that I got from this session. So, so yeah, there's no transcending the ego. It's more about loving the ego and talking to it in a loving manner, talking to it in a, I hear you, ego, but that's probably not the best decision for us. That's not to say the ego doesn't work in our favor, because the ego can totally work in our favor. And that was another thing that higher self said during the session. And that was that you can love the ego, but you don't always have to listen to it. So sometimes the ego can guide us to show up in the world as a confident person, to present yourself well, things like that, which can help in your life path. However, there are some things that the ego will suggest that are fear-based, and that's not to say that we have to always listen to the ego. Again, like a child, you can talk to the ego in a sense of like, I hear you, but that's probably not the best thing for us, and move on to the best decision. So I'm going to move away from that topic from the ego. So I hope you guys took away something from that. Again, I will be uploading this full video on my YouTube channel, so check it out. Check out the whole thing. Another thing that she asked about school. So she talked about how she was supposed to study to be a surgeon and how she just didn't like school. She hated school. She was never like eager to learn about school or study. Like she just liked to play and make friends and things like that when she was a child. And one of the things that Higher Self answered about school was that it's all programs. Schools are all about programs, and they're programming us to behave a certain way, to listen, yes, to be educated, but it's a different kind of educational system. So in a sense, she was always being guided not to conform to the way society wanted to confine her to be. So in a sense, her resisting school all through her childhood and into her university, her studies in the university, protected her from not buying into the system and really being unhappy, because she went into a different profession that ultimately she was happy in, and now she's transitioning into a healing modality. So again, her question was, why do I have so much resistance towards learning? And you know, when I was going to study to be a surgeon, why did I have resistance towards that? And again, the answer was that she wasn't supposed to go into those programmings in this lifetime. So another question that she had was, about things. She was like, I want to have so many things. I want to have all of these material things. She didn't go into too much detail, but I got a sense that, I will read Lucas, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate that. I will read that question in a bit, but I'm going to answer. I'm going to finish this topic and I'll go back to that question. So another thing she talked about was, things. So she said something very beautiful. It was the way that Higher Self communicated through her, and it was that things are just things. And we shouldn't put as much value to things that we are programmed to do in this lifetime on Earth. And so one of the reasons she doesn't have things is so she doesn't put so much emphasis on things and focuses on things. So that's why she doesn't have a lot of things. So I thought that was really beautiful, because a lot of us get so caught up in the perception of having certain things in our lifestyle or in our lifetime, and a lot of times, like, that's not our mission in this lifetime. Our mission is to really be detached from things. That's not to say having things is wrong, not at all. On the contrary, I feel like you have to be to the point where you can have things and not be attached to those things, or not be identified by those things, right? So it's just having those things, appreciating them, making the most of them, and really enjoying them, but they're not you and you're not them. They're just things that make your life better. They're not like, well, I'm better because I have this, or I feel better because I have this. They're like, no, I feel amazing. And look at this. It's so beautiful, isn't it? Why don't you try it? So it's really having that detachment from things. And I think once someone gets to that level, that's when things really start flowing in a different way. And that's when we have more appreciation for the beauty in life, and not feeling guilty for it, or not feeling like we don't deserve it, but really just appreciating the little things, almost as if they're an expression of God. You know, it's beautiful. You have a beautiful garden, and that's almost an expression of how you view God expressing the beauty of this world. So that's a way to look at it. Okay, so back to Lucas's question. Eckhart Tolle says ego and happiness cannot coexist. In his book, A New Earth, The Pathway to Enlightenment. The Pathway to Enlightenment. So ego cannot exist. Says ego and happiness cannot coexist. That's really interesting. I do know about the New Earth. I have not read his book, though, The Pathway to Enlightenment. I think it depends on how we see the ego. Ego and happiness. I don't know. I think that the ego can possibly help us associate, help us direct us in the right direction if we use it in the whole like God vibrancy way. Maybe if we become one, right, with ourselves in this world and ourselves in a higher dimension, and just all, I guess, across all of the dimensions and higher self and ourselves in this world. I don't know that it cannot coexist. Maybe, I think the definition of the ego is where I'm having a problem with, because I see the ego, there's one way to see it, which is like a child and it's okay, it's okay. And then there's another way to see it, which is like the ego that judges and criticizes and tells us that's not for us and that's scary and things like that. So I think it just depends on how we view the ego. So I guess when you really go to another level, the ego is non-existent, right? It's just silence. So yeah, there we go. That's the answer. It's non-existent. So I see you wrote something else. Happiness is a state of being, not a possession. Your video was, oh, thank you so much. Johnny, thank you so much. Preach it, girl. Oh, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Sounds right. Oh, thank you guys. Okay. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go on to another question that she had. Programs, the ego, things. She had, I can't think of anything else. I remember right when the session ended, there were so many insights, but, you know, it's been a few days, and honestly, like when I have sessions, I'm in it and I'm fascinated by it like a day after, and then I just release it and let it go, and I just don't remember a lot of details. Okay, but another thing that she asked was, two last things. She asked about water. She absolutely hates water. She grew up having water with sugar. So, or she had like water with fruit, and she just absolutely hates the taste of water. So we asked about that, and the ego answered, sorry, not the ego, higher self answered, and then I asked, what is the importance of water in this lifetime? Because I've heard through Dolores Cannon that the water is just really one of the most significant aspects of the human body. And so this is the analogy that higher self gave us, and that was that water is like oil to a car, and food is like fuel to is like gas to the car. And so it just talked about the importance of water being like just really essential, and so anyways, I asked because I wanted her to hear from her higher self the importance of water, not for me to lecture her, not for me to say anything, but for the answer to come through herself, through her higher self. So hopefully when she hears that, she kind of triggers something in her mind and then learns to appreciate water in a different way. So the last thing that I want to share with you guys, actually two last things, is that I asked her why she was led to have a session with me. Because we have many practitioners all over the world. We have a Quantum Healing Hypnosis forum where you can find a practitioner near you if you're looking for it and you're not in Los Angeles. We have several in LA, of course, but one of the questions I asked was, why was she led to me? I always ask this to all my clients so that their higher self can reassure why it is that they chose to have a session. Sometimes I find people having a session with me and they're like, I don't know why I'm here, but I know that I was called to connect with you, and I don't even know what this is, but I'm here. So the answer that higher self gave her and gave me was that she's family. So higher self said, I'm family to her. We're like a soul family or soul tribe. And she talked about how sometimes the only people that can heal you or the only people that can connect with you are people that are from the same soul group or the same soul family on a similar mission. So I thought that was really fascinating. I've never heard that before. And I've never met this woman. It was like super last minute. She is from another country. I just said that. She knows nothing about me. And another thing that I wanted to share with you guys that I thought was pretty fascinating was the day that I had the session, I was driving someplace, and you know, sometimes vulnerable moment here coming at you. Sometimes we have these moments where we're like, what am I doing with my life? Where is it going? It could be in so many different directions, and I could be doing so many different things. And so I had this moment, I was thinking this in my mind, and it just, this voice just came over and it said, keep doing what you're doing. And so I was like, okay, let it go, just keep driving. And that evening I had the session, and I asked her a question about, I always ask, like, is there anything I could be doing better to help my clients or to, you know, help humanity, things like that. And literally word for word, she said, keep doing what you're doing. And she said a few other things that were just like really powerful and just hit home. And again, this person has no idea who I am at all besides being a practitioner. I just thought that was really powerful. So I wanted to share that with you guys because it's just pretty fascinating. Anyways, Ernest, thank you so much for tuning in. A form of ego kind of makes us who we are, though as human. Yes, I think it's how it's used for sure. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for commenting that. I really appreciate it. So it's 16 minutes. I thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that you watched the whole thing. There's a lot of cool stuff happening here. Pretty fascinated by it. There was more stuff I just can't remember at this point, but I guess that's all I was meant to share with you guys. And I will upload this to my YouTube channel, so I hope you guys tune in there. And yeah, thank you guys so much. If you guys have any questions, email me. I do not check my messages on Facebook. There's too many. So email me. My email, I will put it down in the comments below. My email is contact@angie-sanchez.com, and I will answer any questions you have. If you like to comment, we can schedule a 10-minute phone call and I'll answer any questions you have as well. Anyways, have a beautiful, what's today? Thursday. Have a beautiful Thursday, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.